Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show, where we cover all the damn news you need to know about. We make sure that you know everything that's going on, not just domestically, but also foreign, before you head to your next podcast, before you head into your workday. Hell, some of you are already at work, plugging in the earbuds, making sure you're up to date of what the hell's going on. Because, well, if you been living under a rock, you got Russia invading Ukraine. That debacle's still going on, which is our lead story today. We'll get to that in just one moment, because Donald Trump had quite a long phone call with Putin, and it didn't go well. I'm not saying it went terrible. It wasn't the best phone call ever, like you had with Zelensky. You got Iran wanting to enrich uranium. Mind you, they're at 60%. They need to get up to 90%. Which is very much within the range of them being able to do. And that will be bad, because not only will they want to wipe us off the face of the earth by going after New York or Los Angeles or whatever city around the country, but they also want to take Israel off the face of the earth. Now, if you remember, Iran goes, "Death to America is not a slogan, it's a policy." That is almost an exact quote from the Ayatollah Khomeini over there in Iran. What else is going on? You got more war drills off the coast of Japan, and everybody's on TikTok telling me I'm crazy for that. I'm just reporting what the news is reporting. You got Russia that wants to work with China, that wants to work with North Korea to maybe go and steamroll Japan at some point in the future, in the same way that's exactly what they want to do with Taiwan. I mean, how many drills a year do we have to see of China practicing what they would do, taking over Taiwan? And by the way, I am blown away that Xi hasn't even done that. The fact that he didn't do it over Biden's administration is wild to me. The guy's showing that he wants it. I mean, it's basically sending a bunch of nudies to a girl, but not actually hooking up with her. That's basically what Xi is doing. He's sending a bunch of nudies to Taiwan by doing these military drills, but he actually hasn't done the deed yet. The dude hasn't pulled the trigger. Now, the question is, when is he going to? And I've reiterated, how many times? I mean, I think we covered this in 2022 with the leaked memo from 2022 to 2023, as well as the leaked audio that we got from the CCP, these military officials talking about how they're going to invade Taiwan, which provinces do they need to keep in check for supply chain issues. You have the military general of the United States sending out a leaked memo to his soldiers saying, hey, you know what, make sure your wills are updated, because we're expecting this thing to happen in 2025. I mean, for Pete Hegseth, there has to be alarm bells going off left and right for this guy. Things are really flying off the handle. And for those that are in the Wicked, that is a nod to Wicked. Yes, I did that. You're welcome. You're welcome. The things I do for you guys. All righty. Well, it's good to see everybody in the chat, folks. As always, we're blowing up on TikTok. Things are going wild over there. I call it the Wild Wild West. Very similar to Snapchat and all the other crazy things that go on around social media. Well, enough of me talking and rambling. I think everybody's here for the most part. More people will trickle in. It's the morning. You know how it rolls. Just a quick announcement. Again, on Monday, we're going to multi-hour streaming in the morning. Okay. Multi-hour streaming starting Monday. It could be 2 hours. It could be 3 hours. It's however long I can last. And yes, we're going hours. If anybody says you can only last a minute, well, you say whatever the hell you want. All right, here we go. Here we go. Trump holds 75-minute call with Putin. Not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. Uh-oh. On Iran front, however, Trump said he came to an agreement with Putin. So I guess it wasn't all that bad, was it? Well, let's break this down. President Donald Trump revealed that he had an hour and 15-minute phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday, but said that the discussion was not one that will lead to immediate peace, which is always sad to see. That just means more people dying this week, next week, and the following week. Trump said that the two world leaders discussed Ukraine's recent drone attack on Russia, which reportedly decimated Russia's fleet of bombers that are capable of carrying nuclear payloads. The president said that Putin strongly told him that Russia will have to respond to the recent attack on the airfield. Oh, boy. Whoa, you're about to see some serious stuff. I'm trying my best not to cuss, but dude, wow. Okay, that's what we expected. Finally, we get, by the way, that's in quotations. That means that's an exact quote. So we will see something from Putin here, whether it's over the weekend or some point. And Ukraine better be curling its toes, because that is look, I said this. I said it not on here. I didn't just say it on X. I just didn't say it on TikTok. I said it everywhere. Rumble. I said it. Putin is embarrassed, man. And people are giving me flack for that. People are commenting that I don't know what I'm talking about. He's not embarrassed. He is embarrassed. You just took out his entire, allegedly his fleet. I don't know if I believe that, but you took out his entire, why would you have your entire fleet of bombers on one airfield like that right next to each other? I mean, wouldn't you have learned from other people's atrocities, kind of like what Japan did to us, to our Navy in Pearl Harbor, where you decimated like a good portion of our Navy? Probably not a good idea to stack things up right next to each other. The old saying goes, don't have all your eggs in one basket. So he's going to do some serious damage to Ukraine. I don't know what that's going to look like. And God forbid he hits with some civilians here. I don't need a swear jar yet. I'm good. It's empty. See, Danielle, it's okay. Either that's a swear jar or that is something else regarding to the minute thing that I mentioned. I don't know, because our crew is a little bit crazy in here. We got a little bit of a crazy crew. So that jar is either for money or that's a sexual thing, and I don't know about it. I'm trying to read the room right now. I just finished speaking by telephone with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. The call lasted approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes, Trump wrote on Truth Social. We discussed the attack on Russia's docked airplanes by Ukraine and also various other attacks that have been taking place by both sides. It was a good conversation, but not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. On the Iran front, however, Trump said he came to an agreement with Putin, reiterating that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Iran and Russia, two nations that are outspoken in their rejection of Western values, have grown close in their economic and military ties, with Iran reportedly sending Russia hundreds of surface ballistic missiles last year. President Putin suggested that he would participate in the discussions with Iran and that he could perhaps be helpful in getting this brought to rapid conclusion. It is my opinion that Iran has been slow walking their decision on this very important matter and will need a definitive answer in a very short period of time. I'm wondering if Trump was like, look, Vlad, they're about to put these massive sanctions on you and it's going to cripple you at the knees. It's going to destroy you. I don't want that to happen. Vlad, I like you. We got along so well. What happened to you? Does this need to turn into a therapy session, Vlad? You know, he starts getting a little bit of a lisp. But I think maybe there were some negotiations going on in this phone call, as Trump loves to do, and that maybe not putting in sanctions on him was part of, hey, you know what? We need something out of this then. You're not walking away with nothing. Maybe the Iran situation of them not being able to get a nuclear warhead and dismantling their facilities, maybe that's part of the deal. Only time will tell. Russia and Ukraine have taken turns escalating the 3-year-long war in recent weeks as the Trump administration continues to push countries towards a peace deal. It looks like they don't want peace. If they wanted peace, they'd be a lot closer than what they are right now. They're not. Trump is kind of the mediator. How I look at it is like, you have a friend, you're really good friends with both people, and you're the person in the middle that needs to, figure all this out. You're communicating to both sides. Both sides hate each other, and that's just what it's going to be. And sometimes you just got to let people kick the bleep out of each other. Now, here's the thing. It's war, man. It's not people just fighting and then beating the crap out of each other, then going home to a hot meal and a nice shower and going, okay, well, I'm going to carry on my life. If I got to go kick your ass the next day, then, that is what it is. No, you just don't go home. And that's why I was reporting. And again, I keep getting flagged. I just report the news and people go, well, where's your sources? As I said yesterday, why don't you open up the thing called the internet and find the sources yourself? Like, do people not know how to research nowadays? I mean, the Patriots in the chat know how to research. You guys are freaking some of the top-notch people out there. You guys get it. But it's wild to me. It's truly wild. What's going on, Shayla? Hey, I met Shayla yesterday. Shayla is awesome. Shout out, Shayla. It's good to see that you came over to Rumble instead of YouTube. Hell yeah, I appreciate that. Screw YouTube. We love Rumble. And it's good to see you. Glad that you're able to join us. Hang out in the chat. Everybody give her a shout out. Great individual, true patriot. Glad she's able to join our community today. I was really excited and hopeful that she'd be able to join us. So again, welcome. It's good to see you. Now, The Economist is reporting, hey, there's like 1 million casualties on the Russian side, and that's coming from Western intelligence because Putin himself here isn't willing to release what's actually going on. And so what they've had to do is look at the cemeteries in Russia to see if they're expanding at a greater rate than what they were before. And what they're finding is obviously it is. And allegedly, now you never know, but you got to take it with a grain of salt, is that they're paying off people to be hush hush about this stuff. So this is just a terrible thing. I mean, it's no different than what Xi's doing with his data over there in China by deleting it or not posting anything regarding what's going on with the financial situation over in China. And then again, I get blowback for just reporting that the dude's deleting data left and right and that their mortgage industry is completely collapsing worse than our 2008. And then you have these knuckleheads going, well, I was in Shanghai for a day and it was completely fine. Wow. Okay, that's like saying when we had our 2008 crisis that you went to some place in the United States going, yeah, everybody was doing okay. Well, that's usually how recessions and things kind of work, is you can always find a nice place to visit. Doesn't mean it's impacting every place. And by the way, if the knucklehead actually watched the video and sourced his material and researched what I was talking about, he would find that it's not exactly happening in Shanghai. But, you know, you got to spoon feed these people, right? You got, there you go, open your mouth. Because the left are idiots. They're the most educated, but they're the most dumb. It just shows you that you can be book smart, but you're not street smart. I mean, your head is so far up your, you know what, that you can't comprehend what daylight actually looks like. Wild. So we'll see if this can get figured out, but it's, you know, it's not going too soon because he's already said he's going to go and attack Ukraine. So we ain't having peace for a while here, man. And my fear is that Putin hits a civilian area and, well, it just escalates from there. So I don't know if this is going to, I don't think it's going to be proportional. I think Putin is pissed and he ain't happy. And Trump's being very nice by saying, oh, it was okay conversation. I mean, I was sipping on a Diet Coke. It was cool. Putin, you better not, you son of a bitch. Alrighty. Well, in other news here, away from that was our lead story, by the way. I wanted to give you guys that update because it's something that we've been waiting on for the last few days now, well, ever since the drone attack, is getting an actual word from the Kremlin itself. There hasn't been anything. I mean, they've been dead silent. By the way, Trump's been dead silent. Trump's been dead silent on it. The EU's been dead silent on it. Russia's been silent on it. Vlad's been silent. I mean, everybody's been silent on this thing, and it's odd. It's kind of spooky. It's like the calm before the storm. The only person that wasn't calm about it or quiet was Zelensky, and for good reason. The guy planned an attack for 18 months, allegedly. He's the one that came up with it, the schematics, right? Him drawing on a tissue that was already used. And the guy pulled it off. I got to give credit where credit's due. The guy did the right thing. Pretty remarkable stuff from Zelensky. I don't like him still. I think the guy's slimy. He's done some weird comedic stuff in the back of his life, but and he's done some other stuff in the back, if you know what I'm saying. Alrighty. Well, some other person that deals with back issues, and in the back issues, if you know what I'm talking about, where you're filling your diaper up, that would be Joe Biden. This is impersonation of the president. Experts lay out the stakes of Biden's autopen controversy. I think this has a capability of going to the court, like high court, like Supreme Court, to see if this stuff is legit. I don't think it is. If you're not the one signing it, I don't think that's you. If you're not the one signing the contract, whether it's your signature or not, I don't think this is something that should be approved. You didn't sign it. Former President Joe Biden, by the way, we don't know who signed it. You could have somebody forge your signature, and if that was found to be a forged signature because somebody else signed it, well, then it's voided. Why would that be different if you used a robot to do it? Former President Joe Biden may have unknowingly crippled fossil fuel projects because staffers may have abused their authority to sign orders the president never approved. Now, this comes from more so Mike Johnson, and I don't know why he sat on this. The guy's just, he's such a reed in the wind. One day I like him, one day I don't. One day he does something good, the next day he doesn't. The guy just can't figure it out. He sat on that conversation regarding, I think it was a pipeline. And I might be mistaken this. I'm not mistaken the story, but if it was talking about a pipeline, it's something to do with fossil fuel. And Joe Biden goes, I never did that. He goes, Mr. President, I have the document. You signed off on this. He goes, I never did that. I was just doing some advertising for it or something stupid like that. The guy doesn't know what he signed. He doesn't even know he didn't even know he was president. I always say this. The dude fell up a flight of stairs multiple times. They had to shift him to the short staircase to get on Air Force One. You might never see that in your lifetime, by the way. A president being forced to take the short staircase to get on Air Force One. I didn't even know there was one, put it that way. The guy fell up a flight of stairs, hits a golf ball backwards. Another thing you'll never see in your lifetime. Fell off his bicycle standing stationary. Another thing you might never see in your lifetime. That one, it's a little bit more loosey-goosey, but you might. Then the guy looks for dead people in the crowd. Y'all remember that? Hey, are you there? I could smell you. Oh, wait a minute. That's just that 8-year-old. You look good. I mean, you smell. I mean, it's good to see you. The guy's weird, man. Sniffing children left and right, getting lost, thinking he's still running for senator on the campaign trail when he's running for president. Doesn't know his wife's name, doesn't know his generals' names. Then he's having conversations with dead people. Y'all remember that one? Full-on conversations with people that have been dead for 40 years. The guy's having conversations with. And by the way, there was rumors out there that he wasn't just conversing, he was seeing them. And there's a case to be made that the guy's so old and that he's cancer-ridden, and I hope he gets healthier again, that's terrible, that he was dipping his toe not into the beaches of Delaware, where he spent most of his presidency on the beaches of Delaware, on vacation, 40% plus. But there's a conversation we had that he's dipping his foot so far in the spiritual realm that not only is he seeing dead people, but now he's conversing with them. So I'm supposed to believe that this guy is coherent enough to even know what an autopen is? Daniel Turner, founder of Power of the Future, testifies to Congress on Wednesday that the White House staff may have used an autopen of Biden's signature in a major deceit of the American people. Well, the whole thing was a deceit. The whole presidency itself was a deceit. Turner's group has called for an investigation into 8 of Biden's executive orders over suspicions that they may have been signed without the president's knowledge. Well, there you go. I don't think that, by the way, I don't think that would surprise anybody. There's probably so many things that happened that this dude had no clue on, that people took advantage of, that it would probably make all of our head spins. Yes, exorcist. This is an impersonation of the president, Turner explained to GOP Representative James Comer. Staffers, of course, have a lot of leniency in what they do working on behalf of the president, but these executive orders that we identified, there's no evidence of Biden in first person in his voice as president talking about them. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're not seeing things being slurred or losing train of thought, probably not Joe. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Probably not Joe. When you ban the export of liquid natural gas and you've never asked about it in person, one has to wonder if Joe Biden did it or if a staffer did it on his behalf. I might have done it. I don't know. I was sleeping. Well, what happened? Who are you? Get out of my house. Right? It's like, sir, we're standing outside. What the hell are you talking about? When you ban the export of liquid natural gas and you have never asked about it in person, you have to wonder if he did it or if a staffer did it. Comer, who chairs the House Oversight Committee, is leading a congressional investigation into the Biden administration's use of an autopen to sign executive orders as part of a larger probe into White House cover-up of the former president's precipitous health decline. I've said this. We did a whole video on it. We talked about it years ago. I said this before the mainstream media and the legacy media nut jobs out there did. It's the biggest cover-up in American history. I think this is bigger than the JFK. I know some jaws just dropped and said, no, there's no way now, Brad. Leave JFK out of it. Now, I'm telling you, I do. I think this is bigger than JFK. You have a guy that's signing orders, right? Sniffing children, allowing millions of people to pour across the border, funding terrorism. I mean, we don't need to rehash every single thing this guy did that was wild and bonkers. But I think this might go to the Supreme Court if Trump rules that, or somebody rules is going, this ain't legit. Yeah, no, we're going to revoke all this stuff. Turner cited an anecdote from the House Speaker Mike Johnson about meeting the speaker with Biden. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. Earlier this year, Johnson relayed that he once met with Biden and questioned the former president on order pausing liquid natural gas exports to non-free trade agreement countries. Biden had declined ever signing the order. There you go. He genuinely didn't know what he signed, Johnson said. I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who's running the country? Like, I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know. The story at the time had been taken as more evidence of former President Biden's decline. So that was a story I was referring to. Joe not having a clue. And it's kind of scary when you have a bunch of these psychos that covered up his mental decline and told us for years, this guy's sharp. He's the hardest worker. Oh, we'll put his presidency up against anybody else. All this wild stuff. And you know what? Why don't we go to his own mouthpiece? The mouthpiece of the leader of the speaker, mouthpiece of the leader of the free world, the person that speaks on behalf of Joe Biden, and that's Karine Jean-Pierre, because she got a book deal. Karine Jean-Pierre, here she is she's trying to grift and make money off all of us. I ain't buying that. I don't trust a damn thing. First of all, I didn't trust a damn thing you said when you were speaking on behalf of the president. I ain't gonna trust a damn thing you wrote, put on paper. Try to make a buck. I mean, she'll make a killing. Don't get me wrong. She already probably has a massive advance. Probably $1 million plus advance on this book. Biden press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says she's leaving Democrats selling inside look at broken White House. Well, where was all this when you're on the podium? Where was all this broken White House when you're standing in front of the American people? Where was this broken when we asked you multiple times if the president is coherent, if he's alive? Folks, I did a huge series early on, and some of you will remember this, where the classified document scandal with Joe Biden, where they found classified documents in his garage that Joe Biden said was more secure than Fort Knox. So either that's a dump on Fort Knox or the guy's out of his damn mind. The Biden-Pence Center, even when he went to Ireland during this entire scandal, that was basically a family vacation on a taxpayer dime, they were finding classified documents in the streets of Ireland. Now, to be fair, it wasn't Joe Biden's classified documents, but wherever this guy goes, for some reason, classified documents are just falling out of people's folders, I guess. This woman covered up his cognitive decline. And what she was also doing was not only, and I remember, I think it was like either June 11th or June 10th or July 11th, July 10th, when this all unraveled with the classified documents and his cognitive decline, was she said she knew nothing about it. And then what happened? Well, after she leaves the podium that morning, say June 10th, well, then that evening, well, it's found out there was more classified documents strewn out everywhere else. So she comes on the podium the next day. And then the reporters ask, hey, did you know about these classified documents? Nope, didn't know. And everybody in the room, again, I did a whole series, multi-series on this. Multiple people in that room asked her, okay, well, are there any other classified documents? No, I think we got them all. That was it. I kid you not. That morning, she walks off the podium. Couple hours later, breaking news, more classified documents found at Joe Biden's home, right next to his Corvette, out there in the open. Couldn't believe it. She walks in the next day, and the reporters are pissed. I've still never seen the White House Correspondents' Room that heated, ever. Why didn't you tell us that there was more classified documents? Because you told us the opposite, Karine. And she lied straight to their faces again. And they even asked her, did you know about these? And she was like, oh, shit, illegal. I'm not sure, right? Now, she didn't say that, but she played it off. She lied to everybody multiple times in the same way she's going to lie in this book. And I'm sure there's an ounce of truth there. I mean, that's what evil does, right? It's both the fruit of the tree, the knowledge of good and evil. Well, you're looking at it right here. Her head literally looks like a tree. Former President, White House press secretary, Joe Biden's former White House press secretary, there we go, there's a tongue twister for you, Karine Jean-Pierre has left the Democratic Party after working for 2 Democratic presidents and career of towing the party line, most notably, while also defending former President Joe Biden amid his obvious cognitive decline. She's becoming an independent. The person that pushes, let me just be clear, because there's a lot of independents. There's actually more independents that watch my show than there are Republicans and conservatives, just a heads up, combined. She's joining your party, you guys. The independent party. Oh. So the lady that loves leftist progressive ideology, DEI, affirmative action, transing your kids, giving your kids in a 3rd grade level in New Jersey pornographic material, teach them how to masturbate, using cartoons. We've shown you the video and we've shown you the cartoon. Yeah, this lady loves that stuff. She wants to give your kid hormone enhancers, puberty blockers. She wants to make sure that the administration doesn't notify the parents that their kids are going trans, he has mental problems or she has mental problems. That's an independent, really? She's gone more to the middle? Since when? Like, what was it in these last, even when she was on MSNBC, which is a left-wing media outlet, by the way, that she worked for, all of a sudden, she's the independent here. She's gone centrist, huh? She is nuts. You're right. Absolutely. News about Jean-Pierre's party affiliation broke with the listing of her new memoir. Well, there you go. Independent. A look inside a broken White House outside the party lines. Oh, really? So a tell all, I guess. The Barnes & Noble description of the book reveals that Jean-Pierre has become an independent. No way. This is what these people do. They masquerade. They masquerade as wolves in sheep's clothing, folks. In a country obsessed with blind loyalty to a two-party democratic system, Karine Jean-Pierre, former White House press secretary to the Biden administration, shares why Americans must step beyond party lines to embrace life as independents. Oh boy. Jean-Pierre didn't come to her decision to be an independent lightly. Oh, she really thought about it. Yeah, no, she does a lot of thinking upstairs, doesn't she? She has served 2 American presidents, both Obama and Biden, just so happens to be number 1 and 2 worst American presidents in American history. And by the way, there's a lot of people that think that. It ain't just me. In the book, Jean-Pierre urges Americans to think outside of the blue and red box as we consider what's next to save our democracy. Oh, here we go. Remember, this is the lady that said you're all a threat to democracy. She reaffirmed Joe Biden's words that if you were ever a religious person, ever in the military, or you're a MAGA supporter, by the way, these 3, you are deemed, quote, a terror risk in your own country. She, in a roundabout way, utilizing the DHS advisory board under the Biden administration, was calling all of you in the chat, every single one of you, by the way, if you voted for Trump and you're a religious person, or you ever voted for, or you're ever in the military, you are a terrorist now in your own country. So welcome. You are all terrorists now. And a lot of people are new here and they're like, whoa, when did that happen? That's why you got to watch the show, The Bald Brad Show. Make sure we bring you the news, folks. Hit that like button if you're having a good damn time, because I know I am. I'm ramped, baby, and I'm amped. I'm amped, I'm ramped, I'm ready to spank some ass. Now, I thought that was going to rhyme and it didn't. Well, you got to throw some things out. Some things don't land, some things do. I'll tell you what didn't land. Joe Biden on his feet. Boy, the guy's just terrible. And so she. Jean-Pierre repeatedly dismissed questions over Biden's physical and mental health. In July of, oh boy, did she. In July of 2024, after Biden withdrew from the presidential race following his disastrous debate performance, Jean-Pierre flatly denied that there was a cover-up to hide the president's frailty from the public. I mean, remember, they wanted to put him in a wheelchair, and they didn't want to tell us about it. There's never been a cover-up. I want to be very clear about that. Oh, really? Okay, so just really quick. She didn't do anything bad, did she? Now, this was not part of the show, but and I haven't seen the clip myself, so I hope it lands really well here. But I just want to play this montage here in memory of Karine Jean-Pierre lying to our faces day in and day out for years.
Are the most energized part of the Republican Party. I think this is an extreme threat to our democracy, to our freedom.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No. I just said no. I just answered.
It would seem that people in this White House knew that President Biden was slipping, and it was hidden from the American people.
Know that is a narrative that you love.
No,
Wait, hold on. President Biden has been clear-eyed about the threat that the former president represents to our democracy.
Today, the Council of Economic Advisors released a blog showing grocery inflation is indeed slowing, with prices of eggs and produce such as vegetables and fruit falling in recent months.
Why is it?
Oh, I'm glad they added that one in there, because those suckers spiked and then Trump brought them down. And now you don't hear the left saying anything about bringing down egg prices. The guy killed it.
In the country's best interest for him to step aside. Does it have to do with his health, or
it does not have to do? They have nothing to do with his health. He is as sharp as ever, as I have known him to be in my engagement, in my experience.
I kid you not. I just almost spit out my coffee. I was so close to ruining the entire show for everybody, spitting all over the mic. You know, it's just everywhere. That was the closest I've ever been.
With him. And I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith. Disaster relief funds used on
Everybody stops
illegally.
it. Everybody stops the clips at cheap fakes. At the very, very end of that clip, if you listen, she says deep fakes as well. That's why I say cheap fakes, deep fakes. A lot of people say, well, she never said deep fakes. That's because these people never go and watch the original whole thing. They just watch the clip that people send all the time. It's very similar to the find people on both sides clip. They will cut it off right before Trump says, except the white supremacists, the KKK nut jobs, and all these other people. They will cut it off right before that. And that's why you still got psychos roaming around years later, 7+ years later, going, oh, you said this. Watch the whole clip.
In the U.S., the fact is, no money is being diverted from response needs. That's the fact.
Quote, yes, that was a huge lie by the Biden administration.
Why is President Biden saying that his uncle Bozie was eaten by cannibals?
The president had a emotional and I think a symbolic moment. He had an opportunity as president to honor his uncle's service in uniform. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan.
If my memory serves me correctly, didn't she go to like Columbia or something like that, or Cambridge, something wild? And it's like, it just shows you that it's never been easier to get an education nowadays. It's never been easier to pass through the system. You don't even have to show up anymore. So, well, I kind of played you all the clips. It just kind of goes through things that I showed you. But there you have it. Karine Jean-Pierre's new book out. If you need some material to read, I guess you could buy it. But, why don't I show you what a real book looks like? Why don't we do that, huh? Why don't I show you what a real book looks like? My book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just bringing you the facts on how these psycho-progressive lefties, the ones that want to go after your kids, and go after you, by the way, you and your family. Well, I talk all about it here. Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. Links in the description. You go to my website and buy it. You go to Amazon and buy it, Barnes & Nobles. Sometimes Walmart carries it. But it will take you through everything you need to know. From critical race theory, I start with critical law studies and teach you where it comes from and what the heck critical race theory is. By the way, I'm an educator, so I can tell you how it actually happens and works out inside the education system. I go through Antifa, the mainstream media, racism, anti-police movement, indoctrination, discriminations and disparities. Our last chapter is about abortion. And I take you through the history of abortion, man. I take you all the way. I think I went back to Egyptian time. So a long time ago. It's a really good book, folks. It's a book that I would want to read, which is why I wrote it. I'm not going to write some crap that I wouldn't want to read. That doesn't make any sense. But I look, 5-star reviews, man, on Amazon. You guys are killing it. Thank you so much for buying it up. Appreciate it. By the way, we've sold out. Like, yo, we got to print more of these things. Sweet. That means people are enjoying it. If you do buy it, though, leave me a comment. Would really appreciate that. All righty, more news here. Okay, we still got some time. Let's do it. We have Let's Woke, More Lethal, baby. Military hits major milestones under Trump and Hegseth. This is something the Democrat Party, and we covered this, is having a very hard time trying to figure out. And what is that? Talking to men. That's not my words. That's their words. They're spending, I think it's $20 million on a campaign to try to figure out how to talk to men. By the way, we're not hard to talk to. By the way, usually we don't even want to be talked to. We just want to be left the hell alone. Majority of the time, just shut up and leave us alone. Allow us to go into our man caves, watch a damn sports game, leave us alone. It's not hard, man. I tell you, we're the most simplest creatures out there. We want food, sex, and they'll be left the hell alone. It's not, I mean, really, you do those 3 things. You feed us, you allow us to do some, things to you, and you leave us alone. It's wild that there's a 3 checklist. It ain't difficult. Kathleen, excellent book. Loved learning so much. My mom is reading it now. Heck yeah. Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate that. Thank you for buying and supporting it. A lot of people are as well. Thank you to everybody. We got the best community. You guys, we support one another, and I appreciate it. Most importantly, you support me, and I appreciate that. Thank you. God bless you guys. But they can't figure it out. You want to know why the military is hitting numbers that we haven't seen in years? Is because there's 2 alpha, well, there's technically 3 alpha males on your screen. Hello. But an alpha male doesn't need to tell you that they're alpha male. So I guess I'm beta. Beta. These are alpha males and people that men want to get behind. This ain't no pussy here. Pete Hegseth, good looking guy, trains with the military, always looking sharp. And you got Donald Trump looking sharp always, out of shape, but doesn't mind. There's a lot of men that are out of shape. And the guy's a no bullshit type of guy. And we all like that. See, they speak our language, and that's what the American people don't realize. Majority of America aren't these bougie freaking coastal guys. They're middle American. They're burly men that don't put up with crap. But we're so used to seeing these Kardashians roaming around, both men and women, by the way, because we got a lot of men over here in these coastal areas are dressing up as women that don't even remember what it was like to be a man. They're dressed up as a woman. They're wearing their ex-wives' old underwear that's all crispy and gross, roaming the streets and thrusting in front of little boys on these freaking pride floats. They don't even realize what a man is anymore. They can't even identify what a woman is. And we're all sitting here, first of all, living it up. We're having a great time and joining the military to get behind some men that actually know what the hell's going on. The reason why you would join now is because you would be out of the service by the time you probably get some nut job like Gavin Newsom in office. That's probably going to run in 2028. Or hell, I don't know, AOC, Bernie Sanders, if he's still alive. And I'm not asking for the death of Bernie Sanders. I'm just saying the guy's old. And who the hell else? What's that one? Jasmine Crockett's the new one. The one that you all didn't think was hot. I was on an ABL show yesterday asking if you thought she was hot. I'll be fair. I guess you guys were right. Now, I don't mean to throw race into this, but Anthony's black. And, Miriam thought she was ratchet too. And Miriam's black. Now, race doesn't have anything to do with it, but, usually you're attracted kind of to your own race. I'm not one. I'm kind of attracted to everybody. I don't really have a type. It's just kind of like, if you're pretty, you're pretty. He said, she's okay. Not much. No, probably a 6. He didn't say a 6, but he probably gave her a 6. So you guys were right. You got it out of me, okay? Shut up. You forced it out of me. I don't want to hear it from you guys. like we fucking told you, Brad, you piece of shit. She's ugly. All right, well, you guys were right on that one, okay? You guys were, I'll give it to you. You're right, okay? Credit where credit's due. You gotta give it. All right. That's all you're getting out of me today. Here we go. Defense Press Secretary Pete Hegseth and President Donald Trump have both promised to foster and lead a United States military that is less woke and more lethal than it has been in recent years. And reports published on Tuesday indicate that they have been working hard on both fronts. Military.com reported on Tuesday, and Hegseth has ordered the U.S. Navy to strip the name of Harvey Milk from an Oiler-class ship. The ship was named for Milk, a gay rights activist. Geez, there you go. In 2016 by President Barack Obama, his Navy Secretary Ray Mabus, whatever. It looks like that's the ship right there. And according to the report, a Defense Department official also confirmed that timing of Hegseth's order just days into Pride Month had been intentional. Chuck Schumer lashed out, of course he did. Chuck's also one of those that probably secretly wears his wife's underwear. Lashed out at Hegseth over the move, saying erasing Harvey Milk's name is disgusting, blatant discrimination. No, shut up. It's always discrimination with you guys. You know what, Chuck? Why don't you get your party in line rather than coming out with this type of crap? Because clearly Americans don't like what you guys are doing. Your approval rating's like 21%. You're abysmal. People like Karine Jean-Pierre are leaving your party. Why don't you shut up for a while? You've been in freaking Congress like your entire life, suckling at the government teat like Bernie Sanders. Why don't you shut up for a little bit, Chuck, and go figure out your party, as well as New York City, because it's a crumbling city. People are fleeing left and right. People can't afford to live there. You guys barely got trash cans over in New York City. I kid you not. People were taking to the streets in excitement because they got trash cans. That's how behind New York City is. Your subway system is dog shit. You have massive amount of crime. People are lighting people on fire in your subway systems, pushing people in front of the subways and deleting them. You got homeless running rampant. You guys were offering illegal immigrants hotel rooms by kicking out our veterans. That also happened in New York City. So, Chuck, I think you just need to figure out your own stuff because you have enough to worry about. Stop worrying about what the military's doing and changing names of ships. And why don't you focus on your actual state because you're running it into the ground. He served the United States Navy and his country honorably, and he was assassinated while serving the public and fighting for the LGBTQ plus rights. Hegseth should be ashamed of himself and reverse this immediately. Shut up, Chuck. Chuck, why don't you work more on your hair plugs than you do on trying to post a stupid ass Twitter here and hitting Hegseth? Focus on your hairline, buddy. Focus on that. By the way, get rid of that hairline. Let's just do that. See, at least I had the wherewithal to buzz my head when I knew that I was thinning a little bit. Chuck Schumer, I kid you not, would be the perfect Penguin if there was ever a real Batman like Gotham. If there was a real Batman Gotham in New York City, which mostly looks like Gotham, tell me that guy's face doesn't look like what you would expect the Penguin to look like. There's no better casting. I know we're all familiar with who's the guy from Brokeback Mountain? I can't remember. Heath Ledger. I like how we all remember from Brokeback Mountain. The guy's done a lot of great work. This is just the movie that came to mind. But he had a good Joker. And then you had Danny DeVito, right, with Michael Keaton back in the 90s. That was a good Batman and Penguin. But Chuck Schumer, I mean, everything about the scumminess of that guy just totally plays into that. So there you go. Everybody's get behind the defense, the military defense here. Men want to sign up because we actually have other men in office. Always great to see. In other news here, this is going to piss you guys off. Now, I'm trying to make sure that stories kind of overlap in some way, shape, or form. We were just talking about the LGBTQ plus individual, right, that was removed off the ship. Well, yeah, here we go. Your guys' money is going somewhere and you ain't going to be happy about it. Okay, money is going somewhere. And again, you're not being happy. You're not gonna be happy about it. Judge orders Trump administration to restart taxpayer-funded trans procedures in prisons. It's the wildest thing I'll ever see and you'll ever see, isn't it? Why on God's green earth are we funding somebody else's trans procedure? Folks, I went and got orthotics for running on Monday, I think it was. Those weren't funded by you guys. By the way, my insurance didn't even cover the orthotics. I paid out of pocket for those. You know how much money that is? I almost fell over. You guys know how cheap I am. I don't need to rehash that out. You guys know I'm a cheapo. I felt like I got punched in the nuts. I lost my breath. These guys are getting full. By the way, I pay in the system and I'm not a criminal. Not that I'm aware of. And we have to pay for somebody else's trans surgeries. Remember when Joe Biden wanted us to pay for the illegal immigrants' trans surgeries too? I mean, well, hell, I guess it shouldn't have surprised me. We found out through Doge that they wanted to trans mice. You know, we're paying millions of dollars to trans mice, allegedly. Now, we're going to research what the effects of it is. A federal judge on Tuesday issued a sweeping block on President Donald Trump's order to stop taxpayer-funded transgender procedures for prisoners. Let me take a swig here. No, I got wet my whistle. I always tell you guys to take a water break. Let me take a water break really quick. I'm going to lose my crap, dude. This is so wild. What? If I ever cut myself off, it's because it'd probably get me banned. That's why you see me and you hear me just stop my sentences, because my brain is thinking, Brad, don't do it. For the love of God, don't do it, buddy. You got something good here. The Patriot community, you love hanging out with them too much. You can't keep going, Brad, because you won't have anything anymore. Yeah. U.S. District Judge Royce Lamberth of Washington, D.C. granted class action status to a lawsuit brought by the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU. The ACLU filed the lawsuit on behalf of over 1,000 federal prison inmates who are taking advantage of taxpayer-funded prison systems to finance clothing, hormones, and other expenses. There used to be satire, right? Let me see if I can find it for you. There used to be satire, right, back in the day with movies. Like back when I say I'm talking like I'm talking like, how do I put this? Like early 90s. But this is what the yard looks like. I have this for you. We used to make fun of this. This is now reality. How many movie clips have I showed you that we used to make fun of stuff and now it's real? So here's Adam Sandler in The Longest Yard. The reason why this brought to my attention in my mind just now, I didn't have it prepared, as you just saw, I looked it up. This is what you're paying for. Remember how they said clothing? This is what this, fuck, dude, I can't even, what's he talking about? Adam Sandler used to be my favorite actor, by the way. But we don't need to get into that. But anyway, it has nothing to do with what this is really. But I mean, that's pretty much what we're talking about here. It's not far off. It's not far off. Jim Carrey did a better on it in Living Color. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's true. So you finance clothing, hormones, and other expenses. In light of the plaintiff's largely personal motives for undergoing gender affirming care. It's the fancy way of basically playing into other people's delusions. I've always said this, gender affirming care, you're playing into somebody else's delusions. You can't transition. I don't call, some people like ABL, and I love, I'm not beating him up. I think it's really funny. He calls them transformers. He calls trans people transformers. I think it's hilarious, but I call them shapeshifters. You can't transform. You can't transition. It's not possible, by the way. It isn't possible. No, at least not right now. It isn't. You can lop off your genitals all you want. You are still going to have the same chromosomes. You cannot change that. That is just, it's biological. It's biologics. You can't change it. So the only way that you'd be able to change it is if you were a shapeshifter. Now, a shapeshifter is a mythological being that doesn't exist. Delusional. In the same way, change gender affirming care to anorexic affirming care. Or let's do this. Because it'll be a blanket statement. Eating disorder care. Eating disorder affirming care is what we'll call it. Eating order affirming care. EORC. EOC. Is that how you say it, right? Oh, I'm trying to find a funny acronym for it. It didn't work. I missed the ball. Okay, don't judge me. Hit the like button for that one. That one's on me. I apologize. Let me do a down button for that. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that because it actually hurt us. Would it be right if a young lady that's 90 pounds soaking wet is supposed to be 140, let's say, soaking wet? By the way, Keith, I think it was you that emailed me a while ago about doing Discord stuff. I'm thinking about doing it this summer. I think it was you, Keith, if I remember correctly, doing Discord. Let me know in the chat on Rumble. I think it was you. I want to do a Discord this summer. I want to get that set up. Would you affirm that woman, that young woman, let's do 70 pounds soaking wet, like Holocaust victim looking. Would you say, hey, you know what? Get in there and go throw that up. Come here, Jenny. Jenny, you don't need that, huh? Jenny, you look like this. Jenny, you look like the State Puff Marshmallow Man, if I can get it in the camera. This is you, Jenny. Yeah, Jenny, you're big. Right? She doesn't look anything like that. She looks like a Holocaust victim, but yeah, get in there and throw that up. Do you need to eat that? You don't need to eat that, huh? You look great. You look really good. You look really, really good. You don't need that sandwich, do you? You don't need that sandwich. You don't, no. Like, would you do that to somebody? No, you wouldn't. That would be psycho. It'd be disgusting. These people are out of their mind. You're playing into somebody's delusions. That would be going, I just played it out. I don't need to go any further with that. I don't even know what I'm trying. So anyways, that's a thing that's going on here. Good for all of us now. More money being wasted. When did we start becoming so nice to prisoners? Like, they obviously weren't nice to society. That's why they're paying their debt to society, by the way. I guess there's a conversation to be had too. Wouldn't you be incentivizing criminal behavior for trans people specifically because maybe they don't have the money to get their trans surgeries and their hormone enhancers and puberty blockers, and that you'd be incentivizing them to actually commit a crime knowing that they can get that surgery, and depending on the level of the crime that they'd still be able to go on with their life and get a job, but they were able to still get a taxpayer funded trans surgery in the prison system? Wouldn't that incentivize that behavior? Now people go, well, that's crazy. Why would anybody ever do that? Well, this is what they always do. Why would anybody ever do that? Why would a boy pretend to be a girl and then join a sorority watching all the hot babes running around in their underwear and showering with them? God, why would a boy ever do something like that? That sounds so crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. It is crazy, but it's also in a way genius. I mean, we've all had hormones. We've all had thoughts. I bring that up because we covered that story the other day where a guy said that he was a trans person and that he was a biological male dressing up as a woman that joined a sorority. And I said, the guy's a genius. The guy's running around the house and living there with all these young, hot ass women running around in their lingerie. The butt cheeks are hanging out. The guy's smart. Now, where it gets wild, in all seriousness, all jokes aside, when it gets wild is when these men go in and start attacking these little girls in the bathroom because they're sharing a bathroom with them. But it doesn't happen. Oh, that's a small portion. Yeah, but the thing is, again, they do this with illegal immigrants. They go, well, the illegal immigrants that are committing the crimes, They're in such a small proportion that it's not really a problem. The difference is that the crime should have never been committed, a 0% probability chance of taking place, because it should have never been an answer in the first place. It never should have been an option. It never even should have been part of the sample space. I'm trying many ways to explain this to the Democrats. Please don't feel like I'm talking down to you guys. You guys get it, but there's, sometimes leftist Democrats that will roll in here. You got to really just explain it to them. And sometimes that's not always the wrong thing to do. It should have been a 0% chance. For example, when you have an illegal immigrant that should have never been here in the first place, go and commit an evil act upon anybody because they should have never been here in the first place, meaning they should have never been a part of that sample space or even a part of the outcome itself. That's why it should never happened. In the same way, if you never granted access to trans people utilizing the opposite sex of which they are in the bathroom, if you never granted them that would have never probably happened. Now, could it have happened? Absolutely, because they go, well, if you never granted, I'm just going to do it anyways. Sure, it could have happened, but you get the idea of what I'm talking about. And also, I needed to overlap and to do a transition here. There you go, no pun intended, but somewhat of a pun. I'm doing a transition into offering loans to illegals, and they're doing it to fight systemic racism. Here we go again. It's exhausting. We talk about systemic racism in my book. I might as well plug it again. Why not? I mean, who's going to plug it for me? I might as well do it myself. We'll come back to this article. I talk about systemic racism in my book, and I destroy that ideology. I destroy it. That's why when you look at it, it says racism right there. The biggest topic right there, right in the rib cage, the meat of the horse, baby. And I'm telling you, through the chapter discrimination disparities, I think that's worth the entire book right there. I say that about every chapter. Damn, it's a good book. It sounds so, is it self-aggrandizing? Is that what it's called? I don't know. I'm not trying to be. Folks, you ever walk away from a book? Mind you, I wrote the damn thing. And go, and you haven't read it in a while, and you come back to it, you're like, this is pretty good. Like, why did I put this down? That's how I feel every time I open this up to check out a chapter, because some of my research is in here, and I use it for the show, or I use it for TikTok videos, and I'm like, this is pretty damn good. Did you write this? Did a stupid person like me write that? You did good. You did good, buddy. You did really good. All righty, here we go. Bank founded by Democrat billionaire loans illegals money to fight systemic racism. Does racism exist? Absolutely. Is it a major problem in the United States? I do not think it is. Is there systemic racism? I think if I was to play into the hand of that, if I had to make an argument for systemic racism, my argument would be affirmative action. That's what it would be. Because I think affirmative action on the basis is racist. An ideology-driven bank founded by a left-wing billionaire offers loans to illegal aliens as part of its effort to fight, quote, centuries of systemic racism using a little-known financial tactic to profit off Americans' mass immigration crisis. Now, some of you go, this sounds really familiar. We've covered this story loosely in the past, probably within the last month or two. Beneficial State Bank, a project of billionaire Democrat donor and former presidential candidate Tom Steyer, utilizes individual taxpayer identification numbers to give loans to illegal aliens who would not otherwise be able to access lines of credit. Rather than characterizing it as a way to corner the lending market for illegal aliens who may otherwise struggle to access traditional financial tools, the Oakland, there you go, I always wait to see where this stuff is happening. And almost always, it is in some left-wing state or locality or district, almost always. Of course, it has to be in California. The Oakland, California-based bank says that its loan offerings are part of a plan to combat systemic racism. Beneficial State Bank is committed to addressing financial inequalities that disproportionately affect communities of color, a result of centuries of systemic racism, the bank said. The bank aims to foster financial security and broaden access to fair, transparent financing for all its customers, including those in immigrant communities. Now, you see this word right here, disproportionately? that there's inequalities that are disproportionately affecting said something. It doesn't matter. You can just fill in the blank. You can do a syntax sentence and fill in the blank. Anytime, according to the left, this is how their brain functions. And by the way, I teach statistics. It doesn't mean that I know everything about statistics, but I know a hell of a lot, at least to have a conversation about it. Every time they see some sort of disparity in data, they automatically attribute it to racism. That if there's a difference in data, a disproportionate difference between white and black or Hispanic and Asian, it doesn't matter how you do the combination in the categories. Whenever there's a disparity that's disproportionate, which, by the way, that's a loose term, disproportionate. What do you mean by that? Everything is disproportionate. Hell, the way that God created the earth is disproportionate. There's more hurricanes on the East Coast that have a lot of ethnicities over there than, say, let's do Alaska or something that has a lot of white people and Alaskans or something. I guess it doesn't have a lot of white people. You get what I'm saying? So is God racist, you guys? Is God racist because he created the earth to have more hurricanes that disproportionately, I'm using their word, that there's inequalities, there's weather inequalities that disproportionately, and probably do, by the way, affect communities of color more than other parts of the country? Is God racist? Gosh, I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was. He must be, according to their logic. God is racist. Said and done, argument finished. It's such a stupid argument. And by the way, I destroy this in the book. That's why you got to buy it. Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. It's a great gift idea. It's a good coaster at the end of the day if you don't want it for anything else. That logic is not sound. Just because I'm reading your guys' comments and I'm really trying not to laugh my ass off. God, you guys, I love you. I really do. We have the best damn chat out there. I say it all the time. Other channels brag about you guys, dude. I'm not even kidding. You go in other people's chats, you plug the Bald Brad Show, you engage with them, and they come over here going, this chat's better. I'm going to hang out with this guy and his crew. Just because there's a disparate or disparity or disproportionality in said something does not mean the outcome that attributed or the variable that attributed to said outcome is in fact racist. It doesn't work that way, but that's how their brains process it. The bank aims to foster financial security and broaden access to fair, transparent financing for all its customers, including those in immigrant communities. See how they just call it immigrant communities, but they don't highlight the fact that it's illegal immigrant communities. So now you're out competing with illegal immigrants, or you're being out competed in some way, shape, or form because they're being offered loans and said such something else. Now, one would say, well, maybe, it's his money. What does it matter? That's fair. That's fair. But, then don't complain when you're struggling getting, a rental property, or the rental property is more expensive because you're out competing some sort of illegal immigrant over there. Don't want to hear it. A key initiative is lending to immigrant customers. It's not just immigrant, it's illegal immigrants too. I got no qualms with you lending to immigrants as long as they're legal. Customers who may not have social security numbers but possess ITINs, which is individual taxpayer identification numbers. The announcement reads, in 2022 alone, Beneficial State Bank issued $25 million in auto loans to these borrowers. Well, if they're getting loans for vehicles and you yourself want to get a vehicle, and there's about 25 million illegal aliens in this country, which represents more than half the population of our states, by the way, which I would call an invasion and a massive reorganization of your culture. But nobody wants to talk about that. It's just easier to complain about shit and never really get anything done around here. Now, when you go to get an auto loan and there's more demands for said vehicle of which you're trying to choose, there's more demand for it, which means the price is going to be higher. Well, that's because you're also competing with something that should have never been here in the first place. And that would be an illegal alien. That goes in every industry, and that's basic economics. The bank doubled down in its efforts to offer a loan to illegal aliens the following year. Well, there you go. They saw a business opportunity. The bank noted that roughly 10% of the 16,000 active auto loans have been given to customers using this alternative documentation. And what's crazy is, I'm going to connect this to personal finance. You see how they say financial inequalities that disproportionately affect communities of color? Wouldn't you offering them a loan within itself continually offset the advantages that they're able to gain if they weren't able to get that auto loan and buy said used car or save up for that vehicle? Wouldn't you be helping the whole systemic racism argument by keeping them down, by making them borrow money at a certain interest rate that they're probably not able to pay off in a set amount of time. And so you're actually stopping them from accruing wealth. If anything, you're keeping them in poverty. If we were to look at how wealth is calculated with assets and liabilities, wouldn't you be actually enabling the very thing that you're trying to fight by offering them a loan that's only going to cripple them and keep them down? It's crazy. By the way, you should never finance a vehicle. It's one of the stupidest investments you could possibly make. Vehicles depreciate at an exorbitant rate. It is asinine financially to buy a new vehicle. People rationalize stupid behavior all the time. There's actually a phrase for it. We call it behavioral economics. There's a whole industry called behavioral economics. It's the stupid things people do with money. It is, well, I don't need to go any further with it. We got more news to cover here. We got a lot of news to cover, folks. If you thought that was bad, we got more stuff in regard to illegal aliens. If you're having a good time here, hit that like button. Appreciate you. Shayla says, and also all the benefits the illegal immigrants get without question. But where are those same benefits for the immigrants that do the right thing in the country? Exactly. And that is correct. Let me go to something. Speaking of that, there's a radio host that follows me. I believe it's Tara. And she asked a question on her X page yesterday, or Twitter. I should just be calling it Twitter. And she said this. Thank you, Shayla, for this helps me transition into this as well. Do you get free health care? Are you on Medicaid? Under Biden and Democrats, 6,300 criminals and terrorists who were here illegally were put on Medicaid. Anybody getting free health care in here? Anybody? Because I'm not. And so she liked it. I left a comment that says, well, I always get free advertisements in the mail, but I never get free health care. So let me see here. These illegals get free health care. By the way, so much so that in the state of California, we have a deficit now because Gavin Newsom doesn't know how to budget correctly, and his mind was blown that these illegals are taking advantage of free healthcare. His mind was blown. We had to borrow over $2 billion. That's with a B, by the way, not million, not with an M, $1 billion. We had to borrow that on a loan, which means we're paying more than $2 billion for it, for this illegal immigration stuff. And by the way, that's just for the healthcare. We're spending like $12-15 billion or some crazy number on this crap. It's insane. I don't get free stuff, so I don't get free healthcare. They get free education. They get their lawyer fees paid for. They're getting transportation. They're getting food. Remember that video that YouTube took down where we showed footage of inside an encampment that they built in New York City where these illegal immigrants were getting all these services, and I almost fell over my chair. It was all on video. I showed it, and they took it down. Plasma TVs, Xboxes, I'm not even kidding. Coffee tables, couches, air conditioning, laundry services. They got a 3-course meal that was a revolving meal, I kid you not, that was catered to the culture and country of which their origins of which they were coming from was. I was joking. I was like, well, at some point they're going to put recreational equipment in here, and they did. And this part never happened, but I was like, they're going to put jacuzzis in here. They're going to fly freaking jacuzzis in for these people. And they're going to be relaxing like this in the cruiser, having a good old time. They get rental assistance. There was rumors early on that Chicago was giving these people $84,000. That's more than the average American makes, by the way. So you could come here illegally and immediately outcompete an American within a month. It is wild to me that we offer all these services, and we all get the, I'm trying to really be careful with my words here. We get the butt end of the stick. Let's just say that. Here's us, and here's Democrats just reaming us from behind. Take it, you bitch, take it. The booty. Goddamn. I say goddamn. Just Joey loved reaming us. Joey just really loved reaming us. And you know what? All the men did on the Democrat side of the aisle? They pulled their skirts up and they said, "Sir, may I have another?" Well, the law would make companies who hire illegal aliens feel the pain. Well, it's about time somebody gets some sort of, pain here other than us always getting it. Yeah, I'm a little ramped up right now. It's frustrating as hell. It's frustrating. I know it's frustrating for you, but hopefully you feel my frustration and we can be frustrated together. It'd be nice to be frustrated together and get free healthcare, but that ain't going to happen. By the way, I don't really want free healthcare because when something's free, usually the quality's not as good. We don't need to go into that. So Brandon Gill, introduced new legislation on Wednesday that would target companies that employ illegal aliens and enhance the government's ability to track down illegal employees. The congressman's new Illegal Deduction Elimination Act, called the IDEA Act. See how they always do acronyms? See, that one was good. My EOAC, or whatever it was, enabling something. I can't remember what the hell. I was trying to do something cool like that. I'm not that cool. I'm not that quick. Seeks to remove the financial incentives that encourage illegal aliens to come to the United States and allow them to stay. It would penalize companies that hire illegal aliens, require the IRS and Social Security Administration to share data with the Department of Homeland Security, and encourage those that use the employment verification tools to prevent illegal aliens from taking American jobs. Remember how we were told that illegal aliens were not tapping into the Social Security system, but then it comes out that they were, and we were called conspiracy theorists for years for saying that? Why is it lately? I don't know what it is. We used to be having a lot of conspiracy theorists in the Republican Party, and there's a lot in the Democrat Party, to be fair. UFOs, aliens, all that fun stuff are on both sides. You don't have to be a Democrat or Republican to believe that stuff. But why is it that we're right all the time? COVID, the border stuff that was happening down there, like whipping the migrants, the Russia hoax was completely fabricated. We were told that wasn't real. I mean, the list, we don't need to rehash the list, but the list goes on and on and on and on and on. But it's time to dismantle the jobs magnet driving illegal immigration and ensure that unscrupulous employers do not benefit from hiring illegal aliens over American citizens. Well, when you exacerbate the problem and people know that they're going to be able to get a good job when they come here, and in some cases, maybe even outcompete Americans that are struggling, that's a little bit of a problem in my opinion, but Democrats love that stuff. They don't mind shooting themselves and their fellow American patriots in the foot. Screw them. That's fine. No big deal. I do want to end off with this one really quick. ICE agents wear masks after threats to their families, but top Democrat promises ID all of them. So Hakeem Jeffries, these people are psychos, has vowed to identify every single immigration and customs enforcement agent who engages in raids while wearing a face mask. Even though, according to acting ICE director Todd Loines, they're wearing the mask to protect their families. They're psychos, man. These people are not mentally well. I know I'm preaching to the choir. They're not mentally well. They love violence. They're the party of violence, even though they're saying we're the party of violence. They're the party that burn down businesses and buildings to the tune of billions of dollars with Antifa and Black Lives Matter for a long time. Oh, you guys stormed the Capitol. Okay, their millions of dollars in damages does not compare to $1 billion in damages. You guys took over entire city blocks, Chaz, also known as Chop. You allowed people to be, I'm trying to be careful with my words again because they're going to freaking take me down. You allow people to have evil, heinous acts committed upon them and not allow the paramedics and police departments to engage and to disrupt those activities, like we saw in Portland. Like we saw in Seattle, Washington. We don't need to rehash it. No. That's wild. That is, it doesn't surprise me, but it's something that I expect AOC, Ilhan Omar, the squad to say, but also maybe Maxine Waters with her waxed ass face. Really, you can make that joke with Nancy Pelosi or Maxine Waters that their faces looked like it was carved out of wax and melted at a climate protest. I mean, it doesn't matter which name you throw in there. It's great. Well, with that being said, should we raid what do you guys want to do? You guys want to raid somebody today? If you're not familiar with raiding, one of the things that I've always wanted to do, and again, we get bigger over time. I mean, I shouldn't say we're big, right? I mean, we're like less than 1% of the YouTube community, folks, because we have over 100,000 subscribers, right? But what I find fun is supporting other people. I think that's big to support small creators. A lot of these big channels, I support small creators. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't ever raid anybody small. On my spare time, I go in and I shout out, without you guys even knowing this, I go into small like gamer channels and I shout them out and I encourage them to do stuff like that because I think stuff like that's really important. All these big channels say they do stuff like that. No, they don't. I mean, maybe they do, but I haven't seen it. So let's raid somebody today. If you're not familiar with raiding and you're over at YouTube, raiding is an opportunity for us to send all my viewers that I have to somebody else. So if we have 100 viewers, it takes all of you, whether you like it or not, and puts you into their live stream, their podcast. And I'm telling you guys, people get amped over this stuff. They love it. They feel supported. We're a community of patriots and conservatives. The left doesn't do this with each other. Only conservatives, Republicans, independents are doing this with each other. We're here to support our fellow Americans. And I appreciate you guys plugging the show and taking good care of us. The question is that who are we going to raid today? And who are we going to help support here? Let's go to Pete. Should we go to Pete's show again? Or maybe Mike? God, look at the charts, man. We're up here. Folks, look how high we are in the charts. We're right here. Just to let you know, this is Fox News. Like, all these people are mega corporations. Like, all of these people are huge corporations. And then there's me. I don't think there's a single outlet here that isn't like a corporation, really, or funded by somebody. Lindell TV from Lindell's stuff. Look at all this. Ryan Donzel, oh, he's big, though. Pete. Oh, we're killing it, man. We're doing great. We do have Dark MAGA tonight. We do have Dark MAGA at 4 p.m. That will be restricted to premium members only. So you have to be part of Rumble Premium to do that. Let's send you to the Hodge twins. That's old. Let's do this. I'm just gonna pick this. We'll do this. Whether we get a shout out or not. Give me a second. We'll send you to Sean. Sean always gives us a shout out. The guy's great. You guys like him. I'll send you over there. Appreciate you guys. God bless you. I'll see you later today. If I don't see you today, because maybe you don't have Rumble Premium, I will see you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Remember, starting Monday, we're doing multi-hour streams, folks. We're going to be here for hours together, basking in the sweat. Appreciate you guys. We have the best community. Thank you for always supporting me. And check out everything. Appreciate you. God bless.